State Representative Jeffrey Elmore with your weekly session update for April 2nd. Today is Good Friday. I hope you have a blessed Holy Weekend with Easter coming this Sunday. There was a lot of business this week in the General Assembly. Some two major education bills finally crossed both chambers and are now sent to the governor. We'll talk a little bit about those and talk to you a little bit about next week. First, our summer learning choice for the summer enrichment, basically the summer school bill that I sponsored with Speaker Tim Moore, was moved through the Senate this week and was sent back to the House for approval. There were minor changes to the bill in the Senate. It moved very quickly. It had to go through several committees, Senate Ed, also Senate Pensions. But we got it across the finish line, and now it's on the governor's desk. This will give our children the opportunity in all grade levels to attend a summer school. It will be required to be offered in all of the systems across the state, so they can try to address the learning loss that has been experienced because of COVID. It will be set up with an enrichment activity to where it's not just purely the academics. There also will be food provided and a physical activity, PE, recess, etc., to make it attractive for the kids to attend that many of them have fallen behind. So that was very positive. Coming from the Senate to the House, was Senate Bill 387, the Excellent Public Schools Act of 2021. This was adjustments to what is called the Read to Achieve. What Read to Achieve is, it deals with lower grade reading to try to ensure that by the third grade, our students know how to read. We have been doing this program for several years now, and what this bill does is makes, I would call them significant tweaks to how the program is structured. What the bill does, it puts a great deal of focus on the actual curriculum itself, how we're teaching the reading. And it sets up a structure for the teacher training so they understand how to teach reading. And it will be based in something called the science of reading, which is more phonics based, where you are learning to read through sound. That's more how folks learned to read traditionally years ago. And there's been some arguments in the Education Committee on what the best approach is, but we are going with more of a sound and phonics based for teaching reading. This bill sets up a linear progression from pre-K students that are not in kindergarten yet and public school yet, all the way through third grade, and it really focuses on curriculum changes. So I think this was a good step forward. The summer school bill that I mentioned prior was unanimous in both chambers with approval. We had bipartisan support. No one voted against it. The Read to Achieve Act, dealing with the younger grades literacy, had a unanimous support in the Senate and almost unanimous in the House. Only 5 voted against it. So both bills had tremendous bipartisan support, and now they're sitting on the governor's desk, and I feel sure that he will sign these unless there's some odd thing that happens. An interesting bill that went through the House this week was called House Bill 70, Historical School Preservation Act. What this would allow is a school that is no longer in use, that is still held by the county school system, can be purchased and receive tax credits if it is converted into a educational use. And that doesn't mean rehabbing it to turn it right back into a school. It could be a senior center. It could be a charter school. It could be a learning center that's a subdivision of the community college. Anything that has educational purpose to it. We've done some of this in Wilkes with our senior center that's on 18, and the old Fairplains School would be an example of this. Other counties have not. There has been remarkable rehabs to some of these historical schools, and this gives another option for developers with that. That's a pretty neat bill, and it will help preserve some of these old institutions that for many of the communities, they're critical that structure stay. So that was an exciting bill. I also wanted to touch base on a couple of bills that I sponsored this week. we co-sponsored, or excuse me, it was a, we filed the same bill in both chambers. I rarely do that, and on our side it's called HB 428, Teacher Licensure and Retired Teacher Program. What this would do, many teachers that are doing a great job cannot pass the subject-based test that they have to take to renew their license initially. These are your youngest teachers that maybe have a year or two. What this would do is, if they're doing a good job, the local system would be allowed to renew their license for another period, even though they have not passed the test, if they are finding success in the classroom, have no bad evaluations, etc. So it doesn't put so much stress on these entry-level standardized tests that the teacher has to take to get their license. It really puts the decision at the local level. Also, this bill gives some flexibility for rehiring retired teachers in certain situations. This would really help many of our rural schools, and also our rural schools systems that are on borders of other states, because the laws are different in South Carolina and Virginia and even Tennessee on retired teacher wait periods. And a teacher that retires from North Carolina can go into South Carolina and be employed very quickly because of the way our rules are structured. So this helps with some of the regulations dealing with teacher licensure. Also, I filed HB 482, and it's called the Animal Support Enrichment Program. We have had great success at Mulberry Elementary with our therapy dog. His name is Frazier, and it's dramatically impressed me, and I would love to see that in different schools across the state, because it helps so much with exceptional children, kids that are dealing with emotional issues, anger issues. Frazier really helps in that situation. And what this bill would do is create a grant program structured to put animals in the schools, to where we could see more therapy dogs across the state. Also, to encourage an appreciation for agriculture, that even at the elementary level, they could have some sort of farm animal that is at the school. We have seen that even at Trap Hill Elementary several years ago, where they basically had the school mascot or the pet pig, and that really helps kids relate to the animals, understand the agricultural piece. So that was the action this week in the State House. And again, happy Holy Week, end with Easter. I hope you have a blessed one. And next week, we are not conducting business. Everything will be skeletal. So the next weekly session will be 2 weeks from now.